Hi, my name is Peyton Halaki Walters, and today I'm going to be doing my presentation on the evolution of viruses. Virus variation is a global issue right now, as we can see with the coronavirus taking over our lives, shutting down schools, and new cases coming every single day. It's very important to understand viruses and the evolution behind them and how they evolved. Viruses represent a very vast and diverse source of novel genes. Although we know what viruses are, the evolutionary dynamics and their effects on this host are still not very understood in science. A very big debating point regarding it is, were they around during ancient times or are they evolving more recently? And there's research backing both, but there still isn't a very clear definitive answer. So where did viruses come from? There's three main hypotheses that are being researched right now, and the first is the progressive or escape hypothesis, the second is the regressive or reduction hypothesis, and the third is the virus first hypothesis. So the progressive or escape hypothesis is that the viruses arose from genetic elements that gain the ability to move between cells. The second, which is the regressive or reduction hypothesis, is that viruses are remnants of cellular organisms, and the virus first hypothesis is that viruses predated or co-evolved with their first cellular host. But to be clear, there's not one single hypothesis that is the right answer. This is still an ongoing research, and they're still trying to figure out what the true answer is. But people argue that certain viruses, such as the retrovirus, arose from the progressive progress, but there's also the argument that large DNA viruses arose from the regressive process, where at one point independent entities lost key genes over time and adopted a parasitic replication strategy. There has been remarkable observations when it comes to the evolution of viruses, such as the discovery in the sequencing of the giant amoebal viruses and the growing number of reports of homologous structures between the capsid architectures of the virus. More importantly, the discovery of the Mimi virus highlights a profound ignorance to the virus sphere. The discovery of similar homologous structures between viruses may be our greatest key to defining where the viruses originated. These similar structures signify the existence of distinct lineages that may be dated back to the pre-cellular world, and it also links to an ancient common ancestry. Viruses evolve in two ways. One way is recombination, and recombination is when viruses swap chunks of genetic material. This usually happens when two viruses attack the same cell during the same time frame, and under these specific circumstances, recombination will happen. It can happen when similar regions of the genome pair up and exchange pieces, or when the viruses with different segments can swap segments. This is called reassortment, and you can see reassortment in the figure below. Strand A and strand B co-infect the same strand, and then they will get mixed up in the host, and this is reassortment. And then a random mutation is when a change occurs in the DNA or RNA of a virus, and it happens when there's a mistake in the DNA or RNA copying into the virus. Viruses evolve faster than humans, and this is because viruses reproduce faster, and the bigger the population, the bigger the chance a mutation will happen, and this is where natural selection can act upon it, and because there's a very high mutations rates, they also evolve faster. There are many ways that we can understand the evolution of viruses. One way is by anticipating its evolution. If we anticipate the evolution by looking at the virus's molecular blueprints, if we study the blueprint and this mutation process, it can help us anticipate its evolution and better understand it. And if we also look at nature's logbooks, over the past 2 decades, scientists have built up a database of millions of biological sequences, and if we study this logbook of data, we can better understand the viruses from past and present. And we can also look at current viruses such as the flu, and the flu already had research done on it, and that's why there's a flu shot, because we understood the genetic sequences of the flu. But with the coronavirus, we don't understand it all that well, and we don't have a vaccine yet. But if we study their genetic sequences, we can better understand their evolution for future purposes. This is my works cited, and it is the end of my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.